Good morning. I'm Connie Fuchsa with Foote Title Group. Welcome to Coffee with Connie. Hope you guys are having a great day. I'm really looking forward to talking to you today. It's been a couple of days. First, let me let you know that if you are on with us for the first time, or if you're a repeat visitor, please check in and let me know that you're online. I really like to know who's on with us and who I'm actually reaching out to, because it helps me design what we're talking about. So I really appreciate your time this morning. I know everybody has a really busy schedule, particularly in the morning when they're trying to get everything done. Good morning, Missy. How are you? I know your schedule is really busy, and I really appreciate your time and checking into the information that we have to share with you. And I am super excited to always share everything I can, help you understand about real estate, home closings, doing a mortgage, buying a new piece of property to build a new home, buying a new home, refinancing your home. That's what I really want to do, and that is my passion, is to bring that information to you. As I've said to you in the past, I don't know everything there is to know about real estate, but I've been doing this for a long time, and so my passion is to try to help you with any of those kooky questions, maybe some basic stuff that you didn't even know that you didn't know, and help you reach out and get all the information that you can get. So I'm here with you this morning trying to help you get information, whether you're looking to buy a piece of property to build a home, whether you're looking to refinance your current home, whether you're looking to buy your first home, or whether you just want to get some information for when you do. That's what I'm here for. So thank you all for checking in. Good morning, Amber. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in forever. Karen Renner, thank you for tuning in. My sweet love, my husband Todd, thank you for tuning in. Good morning, Miss Pam. How are you today? All right, so today we're talking about protecting your home ownership. So, you know, I talk about this all the time, protecting your home ownership. What exactly does that mean? So we think about when we're buying a piece of property, we get insurance because we want to make sure that we protect our house that we purchase against any damage if there's a storm, or if you have a flood, or if there was to be a fire, or if somebody breaks in and steals some things. So it protects your the actual property against damage and those types of things. Or if something is stolen, that's what homeowners insurance does for you. It protects the actual items there for you, because you have a lot invested. You know, this is the single most expensive thing that you purchase, and so you want to make sure that's protected. So what we are talking about, and I always say to you, talking about protecting your home ownership, well, we're not talking about protecting the physical structure. We're talking about protecting your right to own that piece of property. And you know, that's one thing that we as a title industry or closing industry are really bad about explaining things to you. Why it's so important to choose who does your closing, and why it's so important to understand the integral piece that we offer to that home buying purchase. So when you decide you want to buy a piece of property or you want to buy a new home, you spend a lot of time searching for the right home. You find the right realtor that will actually work well with you. Everybody has different personalities, so you want to find somebody that you feel comfortable with and that's professional and meets your standards. And then you work really hard to find the right mortgage and the right professional to share all of your financial information with, so you can find the right mortgage, so you can afford to purchase that dream home that you found. But the third piece of that puzzle is it's very important to find the company that's going to do your home closing. You know, there's a lot of things that a title company does to make sure that your home closing is properly done and it all comes together smoothly. And you may think that the part of your closing that's important is making sure that all the numbers are right, all the papers are right, everything's in the right order, and it's easy for you to understand, which is absolutely a very important piece of that puzzle. But when you walk away from that closing table, you want to make sure that you have the peace of mind that your home ownership is protected, that what you're purchasing, that no one can ever come and make a claim against or potentially take that home away from you. So the piece that the title company brings is very important in making the process smooth and making sure you understand everything that's going on. But after the closing is over, that is where the real meat and potatoes is when a title company is involved. You want to make sure that you're dealing with a title company that knows what they're doing when they actually are writing the insurance to protect your home ownership. So how we protect your own home ownership is we do all of those things leading up to the closing, but one of the important things that we do is we offer you title insurance, which ensures your ownership. Now, let me tell you how important this is. You know, when you go to look for your homeowner's insurance policy to make sure that if there's a storm or if there's a fire or if someone breaks into your home, that all of your valuables are protected, that's really important to you. And also, if you're borrowing money, the lender that you're borrowing money from requires that you have that insurance too, because they have a lot of money invested in that property. So even if you decided you don't want homeowners insurance, that lender is going to require you have it. The same exact thing is true with title insurance. So the lender who's loaning you the money to buy that piece of property, they are going to require that they have lender's title insurance. So they have a policy that ensures that the ownership of the property can never be affected. Their mortgage could never go into a problem situation because the ownership could be in question. And so if the lender who's loaning all of that money to you thinks it's so important to have that insurance, don't you think that maybe that's something that you should consider as being really important as well? Good morning, Rob. Thanks for tuning in. Good to see you. Hi, Annette. Thank you. Nice to see you, and thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Mike Ryan, I missed you yesterday. I'm really sorry that you couldn't be with us at the seminar. Hope your wife's doing okay. Thanks for tuning in. So let's talk about title insurance. What does it mean? Why does the lender require it? So when we first get an order, when you first decide you're purchasing a piece of property, we actually search the title or the chain of ownership. And we go back 60 years to make sure that every single person that's owned it actually sold it properly, had the right to sell it, the right people signed the documents, the right people sold the property, and we make sure that anything that was recorded against that property, and what that means is if a lender loans money, they actually take the documents to the courthouse and record those to make sure they're secured against that piece of property. So we want to make sure that all of those liens or loans or things that were recorded against that property from previous owners have been released and been taken care of off that property. And we want to make sure that there isn't anything that you purchasing that property don't know about. So say, for example, the next door neighbor has what we would call a right-of-way, where they have the legal right to access a little piece of your property, maybe to get to their piece of property. Their driveway actually goes over your property, or maybe one of the utilities locally has what's called an easement. Same thing, gives them the right to cross over a piece of your property. So we search that title to look at all that information and make sure it's all cleared up for you, but also make sure that you understand any of the things that are in there. So there maybe it's in a neighborhood that has covenants, which covenants are things that tell you what you can and can't do with your property. And particularly you see these in plan unit neighborhoods in some areas that we may see, maybe in Virginia where we do some work in Presidential Lakes may have that. In Maryland, in the Southern Maryland area, maybe in St. Charles, or some of these communities that have amenities in there. So they may have some requirements to keep the neighborhood in a certain look and to keep things up. And so they would require that those documents are recorded that say, here is what our requirements are. And so those are things that you need to know about, because you need to make sure that you keep your house looking like it's supposed to. You can't, maybe paint your door pink or put up a fence that doesn't match what's in those covenants. So those are some things we're going to find in the title as well, and we're going to talk to you about those things. So that's one of the pieces that we do. But, making sure we also take in all of the money and make sure everybody gets paid out properly like they're supposed to, because if everything's okay in the title and we don't have to go repair or fix anything, then the other piece is we got to make sure that the seller that's selling it to you now is in fact the person that owns it, that all of the sellers actually sign off on the documents, or we identify why they aren't, and we make sure that their loan is paid off and released from that property. So when we take in all of the money from the closing, both from the lender, money that you may bring to the closing, anybody who owes some costs, we take those funds in and then we actually pay out all of the bills. And then afterwards, we make sure that all of those pieces are released and removed from that ownership, so you actually have a clear ownership to that piece of property. Now, we do all of those pieces, but you may say, well, gosh, then why do I need insurance? Because you're doing all of that work. Well, that's absolutely true. Title insurance is the one unique insurance that actually covers you today for things that happened in the past. So think about this. You know, we do all of that research and check to make sure that everything's properly transferred and everything's properly released. But here's some things that could happen that we can't tell. So maybe one of the sellers actually forged a signature in the chain of title somewhere. Here's a very common example. Husband and wife own a piece of property. They are estranged. Wife goes out of town. Husband brings his girlfriend. The girlfriend signs the document on behalf of the wife, and you've also automatically you've purchased a piece of property that the actual owners didn't sign. Well, we do all of our due diligence, you know, and asking them for a copy of their driver's license and trying to check everything that we can to make sure everything's correct. But if they are good criminals, which, as we know, it's become much easier with the internet and computers, those criminals are much smarter than we can possibly imagine to create those kind of things. And so sometimes those kind of things happen, and all of the proper people in that chain of title maybe didn't sign off on a document, or maybe something wasn't properly released. Here's another example, which also commonly happens. Documents that are recorded in the land records, when we do that title search, maybe they're indexed incorrectly, and so when we search that chain of ownership, we maybe can't find a mortgage that wasn't properly released. And so that mortgage company comes back to you and knocks on the door and says, hey, I wasn't paid, and so you either pay me or I'm taking this house to pay off that loan. So title insurance covers you today for things that happened in the past, and it covers you for as long as you own the property. There's a one-time fee, that premium that you pay when you are at closing, and there's no deductible. You know how on most insurances we have a situation where if you have a homeowner's insurance policy and we have a hurricane and it damages your roof, and the contractor comes out and says, all right, well, this is what it's going to cost to take care of the roof, you have to pay a $500 deductible, a $1,000 deductible. So you have to pay that first amount first. Title insurance has no deductible on it. And there's no additional cost. It's a one-time thing. But it gives you that protection and peace of mind that everything that could possibly be done was taken care of, and also those things that maybe couldn't be seen have been taken care of. So as I said, title insurance covers you for as long as you own that property. The insurance that covers you personally is an optional coverage. Typically most closing companies offer it to you at closing and explain it to you, and then you have the right to say, no, I don't want it. I can't even imagine buying a piece of property and not having that peace of mind. Good morning, my good friend Karen Hogue. Good to see you. Hey, Kurt, how are you today? Hi, Allison. Gary, thanks so much for tuning in. Chip, how is it in sunny Florida? It's getting cold here in Maryland. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you guys so much all for tuning in. So the other thing I want to tell you about your title insurance is it's an actual policy. Like I said, you have the right to decide not to get it, but I can't imagine why you wouldn't. The lender, with all of that money sitting out there, protects them. It requires that they get it. Let me explain one other nuance about that to you too. If you're thinking maybe, wow, gosh, I'm a little tight on funds, I don't want to purchase that policy, and the lender's loaning me most of the money I need for closing, so their policy should be covering everything, right? Well, the one thing that starts happening is you actually gain equity in the home as you start making your mortgage payments. Now, sure, it's a little bit at a time at the beginning, but think 5 years from now when you've paid down your mortgage considerably, maybe you've been making some additional payments, maybe you have had some extra money and so you put some big chunks of money down. Maybe the economy has gotten better and the value of your home has increased, and so now you have quite a bit of equity. Your equity is absolutely not protected if you don't have owner's title insurance. So it may not seem like a whole lot when you first purchase that property, but you can't go back and get owner's title insurance later. Well, you can, but you have to have an appraisal to establish the value, and then you could be buying it at a much more expensive price. So you put a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of effort into saving for that dream home, and there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't consider protecting it. So when we talk about protecting your home ownership, as a closing company, we work very hard to make sure that nothing could come back and affect that ownership. But it happens a lot, and unfortunately the criminals, as we all see in many different areas of our life, have gotten really sophisticated, and so it's very hard to see things that could potentially happen that could actually affect that home ownership. So I encourage you to ask questions, to look at the information, to definitely protect your home ownership, and know the company that's doing your closing. Not all insurance companies are created equal, whether that is who does your closing and writes that homeowner's owner's and title insurance, or the company that writes your homeowners or autos policy or life insurance. We all know that. We search for the best price, but we also search for the policy that's going to protect us best. The other thing I will tell you about title insurance is, for the most part, generally, the prices don't change very much between companies. The title insurance premiums are required to be filed in the state. They vary a little bit, but most of the companies that we can write for are very competitive, and you won't see much fluctuation there. So that's not something that, like, you'd go price out your homeowner's insurance and do some pricing comparisons. You're really not going to see those kind of differences. And the other thing is, you're not going to see, based on claims or those kind of things, that you will not have, that your premiums may fluctuate or deductibles will fluctuate or those kind of things. That absolutely doesn't happen in title insurance as well. So hopefully that gave you some information. I really would recommend that you ask questions, but you always purchase that owner's title insurance policy. You have absolutely no protection if you don't purchase it, and it's very hard to come by if you don't get it at closing. I know when you go to closing, numbers are really tight and you're really thinking about all these things, but this isn't a warranty. This isn't something that you really need to play with. This is your home, and you want to make sure that that ownership is protected. It would really stink if you're sitting in your home, you know, we're starting to get a little chilly, have a fireplace going, and we're sitting by the fireplace on Friday night drinking a glass of wine, and somebody knocks on your door and says, hey, yeah, you have a mortgage on this property that you've either got to pay for, or we are going to take this home to recuperate that loan, or somebody who has an ownership interest that didn't sign off. And it happens, and it happens more often than you would think it does. So I'd love to talk to you more about this. If there's anything I can do to help you out, answer questions, try to get you some more information, I'm always here for those questions. So is all of our team. We have team members in Maryland and in Virginia, and we can do a closing for you in any of those states, and either of those states, and answer any questions that you have for either of those states, and we'd love to do that. Our passion is to make sure that you understand what you're doing, that we make it as simple as possible for you, because buying your house should be fun and exciting and not stressful and overwhelming, and we protect your home ownership. So one other thing I wanted to point out to you is we've been talking about this. We launched, or we put that information out there on the beginning of October, and we're super excited. We are going to do an interactive webinar about the 5 most important things you need to know for your home closing. It's going to be November 15th at 7 p.m. We're purposely doing it at 7 p.m. so that we can get everybody in there that absolutely needs to know and wants to know those 5 most important things you need to know for home closing. We know that when you get home from work, you have to get your kids settled, get dinner on the table, get homework going, and so that's why we did 7 p.m. I hope you guys will all look at it. You can find it on our Facebook page. You can find it on our Twitter, Instagram. We've been emailing out the registration. There's only 100 spots, so you've got to get registered as soon as possible. And so let me know if you have any questions. If you didn't get the registration and you want the information, I can definitely get that to you. Message me. We'll get it over to you as soon as we can. It's only a couple of weeks away, and so you don't want to miss this information. And when I say it's an interactive webinar, the exciting part about it is all of you are going to have the opportunity to ask questions to each other, to me, and really make it an interactive situation, so you don't have any concerns, and to make you get all of your information answered. Well, thanks, Pam. I'm glad you're registered. Awesome. Good stuff. Okay, so get in there and get registered, because there's only 100 spots, and I know it's already starting to fill up. So good morning, Gerald. Aren't you on your way to school yet? Hope you guys are having an awesome day. So as I leave you, I want to say, remember that you have the right to choose who does your home closing. You probably didn't understand how important that was until hopefully we talked about it a little bit today. But not all closing companies are created equal. You want the final part of your process in buying that new home to be fun, easy to understand, and you want to make sure that you're protected. With 30 years of experience in this industry, Foote Title Group has that ability to make sure that you're taken care of and that your home ownership is protected. So hope you guys have an awesome day. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. I'm always here to answer your questions, and feel free to go to our website and check out all the resources we have to help you out as well. I'm Connie Foote with Foote Title Group, where we protect your home ownership. Have a great day, everybody. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.